The structure to us in everything, all of it, does seem remarkable.
In a no mistakes type of way.
Yeah.
Famous atheist Joe Rogan interviewed who many consider the world's funniest man. It seemed random, but Katt Williams gives Joe a powerful reason why God exists. It's known as the fine-tuning argument, and the question Joe asks at the end is what we all must think about. This wasn't a joke either, or was it? And in a weird way, that makes this even funnier. I'll give my thoughts as we go, but no, both are as high as Earth's atmosphere. Let's get started.
But here's the thing. The fact that there is a God is the biggest conversation worldwide. But the truth of the matter is, there is more reason for you to believe there is a God than there is for you to not.
You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to tell someone God exists. Katt's already talked about the devil in passing and now goes all the way in. Don't be afraid to speak with your atheist friends. You can have real conversations if they are open. And this is the journey we all go on. Have confidence because there is more evidence God exists than not.
Our perfect habitat is so perfect that anyone universally with sense would say, whew, location.
Imagine a puzzle with millions of little pieces. One day you walk into your house and you find it completed. Even if people tell you it happened over millions of years, deep inside you know someone did it. It's not only the puzzle is perfect, but the pieces of the puzzle exist at all. They came from somewhere. But the more you tell yourself something, the more you believe it. I used to get fooled by the confidence of atheists, but the more you look at the evidence, the more confident you should be. This is why Katt Williams can say this in confidence to millions of people.
Like the way that things interact, like if we're just talking about marijuana or alcohol or whatever that is, you have to understand that this thing serves no other purpose than to bring pleasure to this small group of beings.
Right.
And the fact that it already was set up to do that, the fact that it was already set up on this planet for there to be medicines for us to find and to utilize.
It's like a treasure hunt. I remember school days where teachers hid things. We would then run around searching high and low for the treasure. This is the first layer of the cake Katt is making to prove God exists. He says something next which makes this more powerful. But it's not like I was running around thinking this treasure was a random chain of events. We all knew what our teachers did. This is why it makes sense to believe in God. Atheists cannot escape this. Let's continue.
It's not like, oh, yeah, so he made a cow. No, to make a cow, it means you had to also have made grass. And it means you would have had to have invented a whole new eating system for this animal, which was cud. And that means you would then have to have given him 3 stomachs to be able to, and you would have to have known that he was going to then emit a gas that was going to be necessary on the planet. Like, like none of these things.
Fertilizer,
are,
all of it.
Right. The fact that
Seeds.
everything goes together is how you know.
It's pretty wild.
This was what I used to scratch my head over, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. The next layer Katt presents is, not only do we discover things, it's not only one thing, but we connect many things. The cow is a thing, but it needs grass. But then we look at cows and see they work a certain way, which matches the food they eat. This is a complex system, and the more complex, the more clear it is, it's designed, not random. It's like a roll of beads that work together. You can say it's random charts over time, random makes more random, or accept there is order to this. And this is what the Bible speaks about at the start. Genesis is all about how God ordered the world. The earth does this, the animals do this, seas do this, and mankind does this. It's all ordered, and the order is clear and connected. This is why believing in God is the confident position to have, and this is why Joe Rogan can agree. Let me play again how Joe Rogan responds to what Katt is saying.
Fertilizer, all of it.
Right. The fact that
Seeds.
everything goes together is how you know.
It's pretty wild.
What Joe says next is something more atheists are realizing. But let me tell you why I used to scratch my head when I'd hear people acknowledge the special design the universe has. As a Christian, we get forced to look for truth. So we get conditioned to see truth, accept truth, and then follow it. When I hear about design, I'm like, that's true. The reasonable conclusion is there's a designer. And as a Christian, you can be naive and think this is how everyone handles truth. So when I used to hear people say, okay, there seems to be design here, but not follow it to its logical conclusion, it amazed me. And I'm like, you're right there. Take a few more steps and you're in. But atheists are not compelled to be truthful or look for truth. Atheists do whatever they want. Even the most popular atheists in the world will tell you that. I'll show you that later. But there's something else at play here. I spoke about this in a recent video. I showed how even the smartest atheists in the world will admit evidence doesn't matter. You can tell a smart atheist all the things we see have a design to it. And not only that, the design is so sophisticated, it connects with every other design. They could look at all this and still turn away from it and explain it away. Like in that video, Joe is here seeing it, but not going all the way. But in this case, Joe has shown signs over the years of moving in the right direction. He used to call religious belief foolish and worse things than that, but now seems much more open to truth when it is presented well. Keep him in your prayers. But notice what Joe Rogan says next, which proves my point even more.
And every time we step in and with it, it goes haywire.
Right.
Every time human beings do it.
Predictably haywire.
Haywire.
Right.
Haywire.
Katt's response answers the hardest question theists must deal with, but what Joe said gets seen often. Take God out of schools, they get worse. Take God out of how you govern, the world gets crazier. But instead of saying, God seems to be the glue, holding our societies together, let's follow him. Nope. Billions of people say, nope. I want to be my own God, even if the evidence shows me there is a God I should serve. Now, people are acting like God. Everything goes crazy. Then people say, if there's a God, why is all this evil happening? The moral argument is very convincing from an emotional point of view. But why does God say all this evil is in the world in the Bible? God's gift of free will gives us choice to do good or evil. These choices have consequences.
That's part of the benefits of free will.
Mm-hmm.
Is you really can jump into a volcano, dude.
Yeah. Haywire.
You really can.
God gives you the choice to serve him, a chance to look at all the order in his creation and say, somebody arranged this. That's how your service is genuine, because he didn't force you to serve. But then people take this free will, mess things up, and then wonder why God doesn't act the way they want him to. They're asking for their own judgment, but will complain, how can a loving God judge people for their crime? Imagine a bunch of people in a city. They're free to do what they want, but they choose to do crime. The city is in chaos. Think the purge. Then the criminals start shouting and complaining. The city is in chaos. Why are the police not doing more to stop us from our crimes? The police say you can govern yourselves well with our laws if you follow them, but we are going to punish all criminals with life sentences if they don't change. Then these same criminals turn around and say, we don't want to stop crime, but will still complain about crime. And then the icing on the cake is they complain that the punishment is too much. This is the illogical roller coaster atheism takes you on. The truth is offensive if you don't want it. But we cannot keep coddling the spoilt child. And atheism is like a spoilt child who wants to eat all the candy and then complain they're sick for eating all the candy.
That's why NASA and Space Force are not more forthcoming, because the further you get in space, the more obvious is. Like, once you're up there and you're looking down, this doesn't look like there is no God. It looks like you're in the middle of somebody's workshop and they just showed you every single way that every star can be made, every single way a planet can be made, every way that a black hole can be, a galaxy, a universe, and then showed you the best of the best.
It's sad because we acknowledge a designer in everything we do. We know animals make animals, humans make more humans. We make computers, seeds reproduce. Everything gets designed. And it used to be foolish to say the universe was not designed. But Joe Rogan asks an important question.
If creation is real, and if God is real, and that there really is a reason for all of it, What is the reason for us?
This is such a great question to ask, and the answer is simple. When a new album comes out, the songs play on repeat and the artist gets praise. When the game is on, it's watched and talked about all day, and athletes get adored. And when the latest blockbuster comes out, records get broken and actors get Oscars. The world is God's album, his game, and his movie. It never changes. Every day is a new opportunity to respect his masterpiece. God created us. That means we should go to him and find out what he wants. We shouldn't live as if he doesn't exist. But why is it so hard for people to accept this was all designed and give God his flowers? It's not. People don't want to. That's all it is. And I told you earlier, even the most famous atheists in the world will admit atheists are not bound to follow truth. I explained that in a video where I revealed the one question no atheist can answer, but every Christian can. Watch it next. God bless.